The song that we're talking about, Viva la Musica, was composed by Michael Praetorius in somewhere between 1571 and 1621. That's when he lived. He was German, so he lived in Germany. He was an organist, which means he played the organ. He was also a composer and a scholar. Not everybody could read and write, so like the scholars were the people that could read and write. So he was able to he knew how to write and letters and stuff like that. Like many musicians and in the courts of noble families, he wrote over 1,000 hymns, musical settings of psalms, and other choral pieces. He also wrote a lot about music. Much of what we know about performing and composing music 400 years ago comes from the writings of Michael Praetorius. That's super important because we don't know anything about what happened 400 years ago. No one we know has been there. Nobody can tell us. So it's super important that people wrote down things about their lives, about what they did, about how things were, how they dressed, what the music was like, how they composed, all those things so that we know, because otherwise we wouldn't know. And that wouldn't be any fun. We want to know what happened before we got here. And it can help us to make sure that we improve and get better as we go on. So we are looking at, oops. Oh no, it logged me out. Goodness, well, that was too good of an introduction to redo it, so we're just gonna go on super quick and pull it all back up. Because I've been recording this is like my 4th time recording it, and I don't want to do it again, and that beginning was really good, and I didn't mess up at all. And I was very proud of myself. So just hang tight for a second, because I'm gonna bring it back up. Get back, find our textbook. Gotta get to our song. 153. And I gotta launch our presentation. And I gotta make my screen a little bit bigger now. Oh. Okay. What an annoying thing to have happen, but it makes a lot of sense and I should have thought of it before I sat down. So, here's an example of where our dots can come in, okay? This is the same rhythm, but it's written in 2 different ways. These little smiley face guys are called ties. They tie 2 notes together. On the staff, it has to be the same note. So if it's on line 2, both of the notes involved in the tie have to be like line 2, okay? And basically, it makes us not make a new sound for the note that it's tied to. So see, these are tied, the 3 of them. So I would not go T, T, T. I would go T, T. I would not make a new sound anywhere that the tie is happening. T, 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 T. B is a way that can be written without all the ties, because this can get confusing and it can get hard to remember not to make that second sound in the TT, but that's not what the composer wanted. That's why we have things like the dots. So I'm T, ta, 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 sorry. Ta, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ta. That's a much easier way to read it, except for if you're me and you can't read at the beginning. But so here's beat 1, here's the beginning of beat 2, here's the second part of beat 2, and then we have beat 3, beat 4, beat 1, beat 2, and then this is beat 3 and 4 together. And I almost said beat 5, but then I saw that bar line, which reminds me, and also this number here, no more than 4 beats in a measure, so the highest number that I can go to is 4. If we were going to count this with numbers, it would look like this. 1 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3. The 2 happens while we're holding a sound, and we're not going to stop and make a new sound for 2. It's going to be all stuck up in there. 1 and there's the second half of our second beat. 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3. And that beat 4 is stuck in there. So here's our song, Viva la Musica. It's in 4/4 time, so a quarter note gets 1 beat, and there's only 4 beats in the measure. And these first 2 measures are exactly what we just saw the rhythms of. Ta, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ta. And it happens again. So listen and follow along and see, maybe you can even join in a little bit. We start on so, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, ti. See how you like it and listen for those dots. These instruments are somewhat authentic to what they might have used back when Michael Praetorius composed this in the 15 and 1600s. And it's written in Latin, which was common at the time. Viva, viva la musica. Viva, viva la musica. Viva la musica. So in the la. Now we have 6 measures of rest, and then it begins the round or the canon. So part 1 will begin, then part 2 joins in the middle of part 1, and then part 3 joins in the middle of part 2. So watch. Viva, viva la musica. Viva, viva la musica. Viva, viva la musica. And they start over again. And all 3 lines fit together. They end one at a time. So you can see how all 3 lines fit together. There's 3 separate little sections of the song. Viva, viva la musica is the first one. Viva, viva la musica is the second one. And the third one doesn't even have any dots. Viva la musica. And all 3 of those lines not only sound good as one whole line, but sound good when their parts are played together. So I hope you understand the dots now. If you don't, let me know, and I'll do a little bit more next week with it. But basically the dot is half of the note that it's next to, and we just have to make sure that every measure only has 4 beats in it.